Hello everyone, welcome to another lesson of prepositional collocation, and in this lesson we are going to talk about preposition of time. This is by me, Abhinav Anand. So this is about me. I am Abhinav Anand, pursuing English honors from University of Delhi. I am a football lover, a poet and a traveler. Please do not forget the 3 R's and 1 S, that is do, rate, review, recommend and share my videos. And if you have anything to say, do mention it in comment section below. So let's begin. So these are the 6 prepositions that we are going to discuss in this lesson. These are during, in, since, for, until, and by. So these are the 6 prepositions that we are going to discuss. And I'd like to clarify one thing, that it is not that these prepositions are only preposition of time. They can be preposition of place also. For example, in can actually become preposition of place. So if we are going to use in as that the book is placed in the bag, then it becomes a preposition of place. So I'd like you to remember this thing, that a preposition is called a preposition of time or preposition of place, not because it is a certain preposition, but because it is used in that certain way. So a preposition of time can also become a preposition of place. A preposition of place can also become a preposition of time. It depends on how you use it, and these classifications are made on the more general use of it rather than the exceptional use. So in that way these classifications are made. And so let's proceed. During and in. We use during or in to talk about something that happens within a period of time. So anything that happens within a period of time, in order to denote that, we use these 2 prepositions, during and in. So let's see the examples. The population of the city has actually fallen during the last decade, or in the last decade. So here they can be used interchangeably. They can be used at the position of one another, but there are some cases where only one can be used and the other will not serve the purpose. We will see those examples in the next slide. So let's see the next example. During the time that I was in Paris, I only saw the river Seine. So in the period of time, in the time when I was in Paris can also be said. So both are equally correct in this case. So where exactly the difference arises? Let's see. When we use during rather than in, when we talk about something that happens within the same time as another event. So if 2 events are occurring simultaneously, then in order to convey meaning about one of the event, we have to use during instead of using in. So for example, if there is a annual function going on in your college, and the college which is adjacent to your college is also having an annual function, and your friend is there in another college. So if he calls you for his annual function, you will say that sorry, I cannot attend your annual function because during that time there was annual function going on in my college also. So this is the reason that you are going to say. So because the 2 events were happening simultaneously, that was the reason you couldn't attend. And because the 2 events were happening simultaneously, that is the reason we use word during while conveying the apology or while conveying the reason. So let's see example what is here. Mrs. Newton came into our classroom during our maths test. So the occurrence of math test and the arrival of Mrs. Newton are actually 2 events that occurred simultaneously. So that is why we cannot use in here, but we have to use during. The second example, the president made a speech during a visit to Madrid. Again we can see that the president made the speech while he was on his visit and during his visit. So these 2 events, the visit and the speech, actually goes hand in hand. So that is why we cannot say that he made a speech in a visit. So that will be wrong. Moving on, the next set of words that we have are by and until. So We use by when we say that something will happen or be achieved either before a particular time or at that time at the latest. So we use by in that case. So, uh, I mean, if you are going to say to your friend that I'll be sending you notes by 12 p.m. tomorrow, so that means that you can either send it before 12 p.m. or at 12 p.m. but not after that. By actually restricts this time boundage, and you become bonded to a particular time, whatever time you mention. So using by can actually be tricky. So if you have to make a commitment, avoid using by until and unless you are pretty sure about the time that you are talking about. So by there can actually land you in trouble. So it is used to give deadlines. We have to reach by the given time. So whenever we are going to work for some company or firm, we are going to get deadlines, and the deadlines will always have this word by. So by tomorrow I want this to be done, the boss will say, or the senior, whosoever there will be, will say that by tomorrow I want this thing to be done. So while giving deadlines, by is also used. Moving on, let's see where until is used. We can use until when we say that something will continue up to a particular time. So this picture is actually going to make this very clear. So can until you can't. So the protesters, these women who are here, they are protesting and they're saying that can until you can't. So they are actually saying that go on, give everything you have until you are left with nothing. So that is what the meaning is being conveyed here. And until it is a word that brings this powerful impact. If without using until, we cannot bring this powerful impact of this sentence. Let's see another example. We have to be in the stadium until 2:30 p.m. So here it's very interesting to note that there emerges a sharp contrast between the use or the meaning that these two words by and until convey. So by on one hand conveys the meaning that you have to be here by this time, you have to reach here by this time. Okay, this is the time by which you should be here. When we are saying we have to be in the stadium until 2:30 p.m., it is conveying that you cannot leave the stadium by that time. So that is how these meanings emerges. So we have to be in the stadium until 2:30 p.m. का ये मतलब है कि हमें स्टेडियम में 2:30 तक रहना है. जबकि if we are going to replace by until with by, that is we are going to read this as this, we have to be in the stadium by 2:30 p.m. इसका ये मतलब है कि हमें 2:30 तक वहाँ पहुँचना है. और दूसरे वाले का मतलब until वाले का मतलब है 2:30 तक हमें वहाँ रहना है. So you can see how the difference is actually made by using a different preposition. So how important it becomes to use the correct preposition at the correct place. If you're going to use by here, the complete meaning will be different. Actually, it will become opposite of what you are actually trying to convey. So that is it. In negative sentence, until means not before. Example is you must not open your presents until your birthday. So this is also another use of until, where it negative sentences, like a sentence like this, that you cannot go home until you complete the assignment. So in a sentence like this, until is used and it means not before. So in negative sentences, which include not, does not, do not, or anything of this kind, until actually goes on to take another meaning, and that meaning is not before. Moving on, since and for, these two words are generally confused with each other, and so let's clear its meaning and use once and for all. Since is used from a particular time in the past until a later time or until now. So since is used to give this range of time, while for is used actually to give the amount of time. So since this is the range, for gives the exact amount. Let's see this example of since. England have not won the World Cup in football since 1966. So it's giving a range to you. It's being more particular, it's being more specific. And you're actually getting an idea as to from when it started and till when it continued. But in for, I'm just going to bed for an hour or so. So you are not getting any idea that the time, what is the time about which the person is talking. So unlike this 1996, you're not getting any specific idea of the time here. So that is it. So let's see this picture which talks about the different use of for and since. So here is the time, here is the time, this is the range. So when we use since, we will talk about this range, and this range will be very clear. So I have been living in Japan since 2012. So this range is very clear that the person must be living since 2012, so he's still living there, and the range is quite obvious. But if you're going to say I have been living in Japan for 4 years, nobody can understand from which time, from which year actually you started living. So since makes it more particular, for actually gives you the exact amount of time. So for period of time, number plus time word, since starting point, a time or date. That is what is here in these two examples. So when we measure the duration of something or how long it lasts, we use for. Or it has a start point and an end point and can be used in different tenses. So for has both these things, a start point and an end point. While since cannot have, since may or may not have end point, it may still continue. So when something started in the past and continues until now, so that is what I just said. Since is mostly used in the present perfect and present progressive tense. So I have been, you have been, they have been. So since is used in this particular tense generally. So there are a few examples which you can go through, and these are also some great examples which you can go through, and I leave you till now for now, and let's meet again in the next lesson. Till then, take care. Bye bye.